Brought to you by Sayaka. Cooking with electricity is now so affordable with the Fumba tariff set by the Electricity Regulatory Authority.
It is exactly 10 in the studios of UBC TV. Hello there and welcome to our second and final edition of News Tonight here on UBC TV. First of all, let's have a look at our top stories. In our news headlines tonight, another outbreak of Ebola hits Uganda. Police dispersed demonstrators at AU headquarters in Kampala. Tuaha Kagabo jumps out of the 40 million saga basket. And in sports, Uganda shines in fiercer games as its officials are honored. Hello there and welcome once again. We are coming to you live online and on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. My name is Rukidi Kijanangoma. Uganda has recorded an outbreak of Ebola virus disease in Mbale district with one confirmed death. The Ministry of Health has not yet ascertained where the deceased could have picked the virus, but what is confirmed is the strain is Ebola Sudan. Let's get a look at this story.
Ministry of Health has announced an outbreak of Ebola in Mbale district. The ministry has confirmed the suspected case patient was a 24-year-old male who was referred from a clinic to Mbale Regional Referral Hospital, where samples were drawn and taken to Uganda Virus Research Institute. The results released on Monday, 19th September, confirmed the suspect had Ebola of Sudan strain. The confirmed index case died in the morning of Monday 19th, and the body is still at Mbale Regional Referral Hospital mortuary waiting for safe burial.
We are trying to gather all the information as we got the results last evening. So we shall be providing this update more regularly, and we shall also be able to tell the country where we have reached. But we're also going to issue further the SOPs, the guidelines that the public need to observe.
The Ministry of Health is stressing for the contacts to the deceased. Between 1st and 15th September, 6 deaths occurred in Kiruma and Madudu sub-counties, 3 adults and 3 children.
Community deaths, which were in the cluster of one same family, and since they were buried, we cannot say these were confirmed. As Commissioner Allen said, it is suspected because this particular confirmed case was part of that family.
There will, however, be no vaccination against Ebola since government has no vaccines for Ebola Sudan strain.
A vaccine that works on Ebola Sudan. So the consideration for vaccine, even for Ebola Zaire, we don't do mass vaccination, we do targeted vaccination or ring vaccination. So this case, we're not considering vaccination yet.
Symptoms of Ebola include sudden onset of fever, fatigue, chest pain, vomiting, diarrhea, unexplained and yellowing of the eyes. The Ministry of Health cautions the public to remain calm. This is the second outbreak of the Sudan Ebola strain outbreak in Uganda. The first case was reported in Welo district in 2012. Miriam Womcha and Adia Nakuti, UBC News.
President Yoweri Museveni has today received the outgoing ambassador of South Sudan to Uganda, His Excellency Simon Duku, who called on him at State House in Entebbe. The outgoing South Sudan envoy, who was accompanied by his wife, Mrs. Duku, was bidding farewell to President Museveni after concluding his 4 years and 9 months tour of duty in Uganda. Ambassador Duku will take up his new assignment as the new South Sudan envoy to South Africa. President Yoweri Museveni thanked the ambassador for strengthening the existing friendly ties between Uganda and South Sudan and wished him good luck.
Yes. At some stage, they organized for us to go and visit the sugar factory.
Now, police was called in urgently at the European Union headquarters in Kampala to disperse demonstrators who were mainly border cyclists who were demonstrating over the issue of the oil pipeline. They were led by Chairman Charles Ndugwa.
Last week, the European Union Parliament came out and said digging an oil pipeline from Uganda will cause environmental degradation. This forced stakeholders, including the President, to encourage those doing this work to avoid getting confused. Tuesday morning, those who wish the country well, together with border riders from different districts across Uganda, have stormed the European Union headquarters in a demonstration to show their dissatisfaction with this issue.
East African crude pipeline is safe. We are here to tell the European Union to stop meddling on our oil. Our oil is our hope. Oil pipeline zita mubendeka sanda zegyenva era abantu batandika dokubasasula twagala olwaleero kolera wamwe era nkyali mu kukunga bannayuganda mwenna abakyaliyo nga mulaba nti abazungu baagala kutulinyirira eddembe lyaffe batuzeeyo mu bumbula kuba ekimu kye nazudde baagala kuddayo kutufuga enfuga eri ey'edda.
These have been carrying placards with wordings to the Europeans that issues of Uganda are none of their business. At arrival of some European officials, demonstrators sang the Ugandan anthem to show patriotism. All this was taking place in a calm environment with police not interfering.
We are also concerned in the matters of oil, in the matters of Uganda as a country. So please let these European countries know that Uganda is an independent country.
The demonstrators were later allowed to hand over their document to European Union. As this was going on, police arrived at the scene and demonstrators were forced to vacate. Joseph Muyingo compiled this report.
Parliament has unanimously agreed to pardon the Bukoto South Member of Parliament, Twaha Kagabo, who was recently alleged to have abused the code of conduct of members of Parliament by placing serious allegations of bribery against the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among. Now, this follows the report from the Parliamentary Committee on Rules, Privileges and Discipline, which was adopted with a recommendation to expedite orientation of members of Parliament on the rules of procedure. The Inspectorate of Government also closed investigations in the same matter.
In August 2022, Bukoto South Member of Parliament Twaha Kagabo wholesomely paraded a briefcase containing 40 million shillings, which he presented to the Leader of Opposition, claiming to have received the funds from the Speaker of Parliament Anita Among as a bribe.
I picked this money from the Speaker's home.
Kagabo was later arrested and taken to the Inspectorate of Government, which retained the funds.
As we investigate the matter, if we ascertain that it is government money, it will be returned back to government. We have read about it.
The Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, referred the matter to the Parliamentary Committee on Rules, Privileges and Discipline for further investigations.
I did not give him any money. I don't even know him. For information.
The report from the committee, led by Abugweri County Member of Parliament Abudu Katuntu, was presented by his deputy Onen Charles.
Members of Parliament should uphold their duty to maintain and strengthen public trust and confidence and the integrity of Parliament at all times. 3. Members should desist from populist actions and conduct that degenerate the integrity and reputation of Parliament.
The committee agrees that allegations were made against the Speaker, but recommended that Twaha Kagabo be pardoned after the Bukoto South MP proved to the August House that he was under pressure from both his constituency and his new political party, which forced him to make claims against the Speaker.
That Parliament should orient members on the rules of procedure with special emphasis on the code of conduct enumerated in the Appendix F of the Rules of Procedure.
The committee also took into considerations that Twaha Kagabo had tendered in apology to Speaker Anita Among, which she motherly accepted. The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, based on the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, which bars members of Parliament from debating on the report.
Those in favour say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Now,
on contacting the IGG on the fate of investigations into the same matter, the deputy spokesperson, Farouk Kayondo, said the case was closed after the complainants withdrew.
We did not establish much from our investigations because the complainant lost interest in the case. The 40 million shilling exhibit was banked in the Inspectorate of Government's asset recovery account, so we closed the case.
The opposition wing, led by acting leader of opposition Mwanga Chivumbi, however, said that NUP will pick from the remains of the report and refer to the party's disciplinary committee.
This matter will be further picked up by my party and subjected to a disciplinary procedure. I beg to inform the House. Thank you.
Because the rule says there is nothing you can do except to adopt. To have a response, whatever response it is, will be offending Rule 1753. Whatever they need to do, let not be part of the record.
Then it would look like it had been sponsored by someone else, and because the member has now withdrawn the matter, the person who had sponsored all this is annoyed, is going to punish using other means.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gwitabinji, UBC News.
Now, the clergy has been reminded about some of their cardinal roles, which include promoting peace, security, and democracy. They are cautioned against receiving random gifts from those in power and fail to work for the people and the country at large. We have a report.
The European Union delegation to Uganda has marked the International Day for Democracy. The event, hosted by the Swedish ambassador to Uganda, focused on the role of the religious institutions in fostering democracy in Uganda and across the region.
The right to freedom of thought, conscience and religion, including the right to change religion, these are critical principles enshrined in our commitment to democracy, human rights, equality and respect for the rule of law that the EU will continue to champion at home and around the world.
Whereas the religious institutions are autonomous entities, their contribution to peace, security, governance and well-being of the society cannot be underestimated.
100 years ago, there were religions of confrontation, conflict, wars, persecution. But in the 1960s on, we realized that no, that's not the way to go. That's not how religions should be. It should be something else, the exact opposite of that. So you'll find the logo and the motto of the Interreligious Council is religions for peace. Equally, the motto for Elders Forum is bending spears for peace.
However, they are blamed for receiving material inducements, and thus they are compromised and often fail to jointly and with unity condemn ills perpetrated by those in power.
We need accountability to be there. For as long as these gifts are random, the manner in which they are given, that's the concern. It's not really a problem for the state to facilitate religious leaders, given that we know they are a very important aspect or element of society. But once this is left to be random, depending on the whims of the leaders, it means it's subject to manipulation. where I can choose whom I give, whom I don't give, in view of what I want, in view of the outcomes that I want.
Why should I drive a 400 million car when there is someone suffering there? Why should I tell my Christians that, hey, bring the seed, God will multiply? My stomach goes ahead, my Christians are just... No, there is something which is going wrong.
In their regular dialogues with top government leaders, the clergy is reminded on one cardinal role, which is to counsel those in leadership for a harmonious coexistence. Dennis Igoa and Juman Samba for UBC News.
District local governments from refugee hosting areas have been encouraged to embrace community resolution of grievances while managing externally funded refugee projects. The Inspectorate of Government encourages that such projects should have their own grievance redress mechanisms to enable the IGG respond to corruption and other related grievances. This was on the second day of the meeting of Government of Uganda and the World Bank Joint Implementation Support Mission for DRDIP. Our reporter Henry Crute gives us more on that story.
It is still good news that refugee projects are registering improvement in hosting areas. One such project is Development Response to Displacement Impact Project, Dr. Deep. It is a successful undertaking that even local government leaders have attested.
We've been able to realize the child ratio, classroom child ratio, from 1.1 to 116 per classroom.
The health workers are being accommodated within the health premises.
We've improved also 132 kilometers of roads rehabilitated, 42 kilometers of water pipeline installed.
Schools have been renovated, health centers enhanced, and transport infrastructure upgraded. Dr. Deep Directorate attributes this success to cooperation between funding and implementing partners.
Because local people themselves, communities themselves, have taken charge of their resources. So if you want to try and come in and say, oh, I will try and manipulate the system, they will catch up with you.
Really, there is no single district where we can talk about Dr. Deep and we see it as a challenge or failure. And this is so because of the interministerial approach.
This, however, has not been without challenges, including fraud and corruption tendencies. This inevitably made the Inspectorate of Government part of the process.
Sometimes, community members raise these grievances with the DDOs, with the community facilitators, with various district leaders, and they feel that they are not being responded to, or that their grievances have not been prioritized, that no one is listening to them.
69 cases were registered, 85.5% of them were resolved, while 14.5% are still ongoing. Some of the cases were said to be minor. To this, Inspectorate of Government has an appeal to district local governments.
It's important that each project has its own grievance redress mechanisms and its own grievance redress pathways. Communicate this clearly to community members so that not every issue is referred to the Inspectorate of Government.
Dr. Deep, a project whose progress is currently being assessed, is due for expiry in December 2023. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Refugees, especially...
Wabla mtupa
Cardinal Musaba Gardens Bukono, October Mukaga Millennium Gardens Sazibuaya, October Munanaji Montelembara, 15 October, 40 Poto Muchisawe, Abim October, Bale Sports Center, Putualukumo, Yepem Tuale Santo, a meza million more, Wababa Tualukumia, Abana tickets of Cosa M10 Momo, Bajagusa Sunan Comitano, Binamino Center, Hiva Motors, Galaxy FM, Radio 4, Kawina War, Sama Furu Balamo.
I remember the lockdown, when the streets were empty and our lives disrupted, when businesses closed and our livelihoods hung in the balance. Hospitals were full. We lost loved ones, jobs, and hope. Our children couldn't study anymore. We cannot let this happen again. We should not go back. Get fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and join the millions of Ugandans who are already vaccinated.
Oh, they look nice.
Thank you, honey.
Yo!
You guys gather, it's going down.
Gather! Gather!
Yo!
I tell you what.
Airtel is giving you bigger data bundles for the same price. Dial *175# to choose from our range of bigger Chillax bundles that don't expire. Bigger monthly bundles, all for the same price, and stay connected longer to loved ones. Airtel, the smartphone network.
A good school doesn't tolerate violence against children.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Molt Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
Beat the back-to-school hustle today. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Dial *185#. Select option 6, school fees.
Select to pay using Bridge Schools, School Pay or Beg Pay.
Select option 1, pay fees. Enter student number. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Government of Uganda, through the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, is organizing an e-conference and community advocacy program for the Uganda Bureau of Statistics activities for the financial year 2022-2023. The e-conference will bring together distinguished experts across different program sectors, including government policymakers, planners, private sector activists, development partners, civil society organizations, and chief administrative officers from selected districts to share knowledge and public involvement in embracing the UBOS activities. The e-conference will take place on Thursday, the 22nd of September 2022 at the UBOS Conference Hall, Statistics House, Colville Street in Kampala from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. This event will be live on UBC TV, some selected UBC radio platforms, and streamed live on UBC and UBOS online platforms.
Cooking with electricity is now affordable. Cook your beans. Avoid smoke.
Sayaka. Cooking with electricity is now so affordable with the Fumba tariff set by the Electricity Regulatory Authority. With the Fumba tariff, you can now buy up to 70 units of Yaka at a reduced price of 412 Uganda shillings per unit after consuming your first 80 units of the month. For more information, contact the Electricity Regulatory Authority on 0200 506 000.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. A warm welcome to those of you just joining us. My name is Rukidi Kijanangoma. Mbale City South Member of Parliament Mwine Mpaka has been selected to chair the verification committee for nominees to the 5th East African Legislative Assembly. The 28 nominees will go through the 20-member committee, and the successful candidates will be known by Thursday, the 22nd of September 2022. Voting of the IALA members is slated for Thursday next week, and 9 slots are up for grabs.
In a letter read by the Deputy Speaker of Parliament Thomas Tayebwa to the August House, Speaker of Parliament Anita Among has put in place a 20-member verification committee for the nominees to the race for the East African Legislative Assembly.
Members are Honorable Mwine Mpaka Ramirama, Chairperson. The verification committee is required to report back by Thursday, 22nd September 2022. By copy of this letter, all whips are accordingly notified.
28 aspirants have shown interest in the 9 available slots in the IALA Parliament. The final day for nominations has been fueled by drama as some aspirants walked in with different sections of supporters, including musicians. Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs Norbert Mao accompanied his close associate Gerard Siranda to get nominated.
We are convinced that Dr. Siranda represents the best that Uganda has to offer.
The Democratic Party and National Resistance Movement recently agreed on a joint move to promote democracy in Uganda, and according to technocrats, DP's Gerard Siranda is not a mistaken identity in the race for IALA.
I bring the experience of the iPod, where I have chaired the iPod Council.
The nominees have a common interest in the promotion of a common market within the East African community.
Will help my team behind me. The ghetto youths, the other youths,
Ugandans who have lost business in Sudan, I even here come here to Parliament so that Uganda must compensate. So we are in a community that requires leadership to go and assert ourselves there.
I believe that we need a true East Africa where we can have free access to market, where we can have free access to education.
In this coming Chisanja, we are calling it Chisanja Hakuna Mchezo, because we are focusing on ensuring the full implementation of the protocols of integration, but also most importantly to ensure that we bring integration to the wananchi, the people, through sensitization across all borders.
IALA voting will be held on Thursday next week. Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gwitabinji, UBC News.
A Ministry of Education and Sports has warned that it will be compelled to publish details of individuals, schools, districts and regions. Uganda National Examinations Board, UNEB, is set to conduct the final examinations for primary 7 learners on the 8th and 9th of November 2022. With less than 2 months to the D-Day, the board is in final preparations for the exercise.
In there, the preparation for the examination papers is going on. Printing of the papers It's going on under extremely tight security.
Among the warm-up exercise is this annual seminar for district, state and municipal inspectors of schools convening in Kampala.
As you are aware, for primary leaving examination, which is a joint effort between UNEB and the local governments, the district and the city and municipal inspectors of schools are the contacts. They are the ones, the officers whom UNEB uses in the field.
The retreat is among other issues tackling how best the country can deal with examination malpractices.
So we had a regional conference involving political leaders, the district education people, and UNEB. And we came up with resolutions as to how these regions could get rid of malpractice.
The meeting is here to discuss right from the processes when examination materials are delivered, the safety of the examination materials, and the time examination are conducted. All those are, if in case there are loopholes, that's where we want to tighten.
State Minister for Primary Education, Dr. Joyce Moriko Kaduchu, warns perpetual culprits.
And this year, if they happens to do again examination malpractice, we will expose the schools and the districts. We will publish their names within the legal framework. We've given them benefit of doubt this time. We pray that there is going to be no examination malpractice. But if they do it again, thinking that is a usual pilgrimage going to UNEB, this time it will be a different story.
A section of inspectors attending this seminar are optimistic that if all stakeholders join hands, a malpractice-free exam can be attained.
Sometimes the distributors that are selected, they are the people who are lured and they leak out the papers, they make the papers to be cut and they are distributed and given to people.
There are those ones who had been doing this. When they are applying to do this, they should have to attach the relevant documents, like the academic documents. You need to see what level of studies is this teacher.
UNEB is also concerned about the increase in pupils and manpower needed to facilitate the exercise.
We are also putting in place some contingency plans, and we have already alerted the powers that be. We may request for supplementary funding where the costs of transport, particularly that would be transportation, and it might also involve relocation of the candidates from one area to another in case we have a landslide or a flood.
Whether the money is there or not, it must be. And if the money is not there, we'll still get supplementary budget and we get the money, because we cannot do without examination. We must conduct examination. It's a process. What should worry you is the weather, because the transport, really, the roads, the culverts are broken in many places. So how best we can fix that within this time.
The annual 2 days seminar attracted school inspectors from across the country. Robert Onyango, UBC News, Kampala.
Gender research findings conducted by a consortium of researchers from the Makerere University School of Women and Gender Studies, Economic Policy Research Center and Care Uganda have revealed that social and cultural beliefs still dominate in creating perceptions and inequalities between women and men at both workplaces and families. The study findings under the theme From Promises to Actions have been unveiled this morning at Protea Hotel here in Kampala.
A gender-based research conducted by a consortium of researchers from Makerere University School of Women and Gender Studies, Economic Policy Research Center and Care Uganda has identified that culture and social beliefs are still responsible for abating gender-based inequalities at both workplaces and families. The study, conducted in 4 sample districts of Masindi, Paris, Mpigi and Mbale, also revealed the problem was worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic. The study was intended to assess and shift gender norms and public perceptions about unpaid care work in workplaces and families, with Professor Grace Bantebya Chomuhendo as the principal investigator.
I think it's a commitment that we can make in this forum. Unless their voices are recorded to inform policy,
and to ensure that they are socially included.
Masindi Woman MP Florence Asimu Akik argued all women and gender rights activists to liaise with the research department at Parliament.
Come out with issues that you think we should put in the law. There are a number of laws that we have in Uganda on gender. We have the marriage bill. We have got the succession. We have got the Children Act. We have got so many laws. So we need to come out with particular aspects that you think are missing in these laws so that we amend them.
Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development is finalizing a national family policy to address gender imbalances in homes.
In that national family policy, when we have disseminated the policy, we'll be able to identify how to support parents do the work of parenting very well, but also in terms of balancing between work and family care for the children that we are bringing up for this country.
Edward Kolinjuko for UBC, Kampala.
The government is soon going to prohibit operation of general health centers in Kampala city centre and opt for specialized services. The Commissioner for Maternal and Child Health, Dr. Jessica Nsungwa, says Kampala city centre needs specialized units to supplement government in addressing quality health care. She was launching a remodeled neonatal intensive care unit at Case Hospital here in Kampala.
Over the years, the liberalization policy has helped Uganda's healthcare to grow. Available statistics indicate that 47% of the health services are provided by the private sector, employing about 54% of the health workers.
And when you go to physicians, the percentage is even higher, maybe 80. When you look at pharmacists, almost 93% work in the private sector. So the question is, who is contributing to health in this country? And that's why this is very important to us.
Government has a plan to discourage establishment of general health services centers, advising private players to set up specialized service provision.
So if you're one of those people who's planning to have a general hospital in Kampala, I think your position is not in Kampala, it's probably in the suburbs. So today when we see Case Hospital move into more specialized services, and most importantly, hearing that many more things are coming probably even this year, means that this is a very important critical point in terms of alignment with policy.
The Case Hospital Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Abdul Mbale, welcomes this proposal.
But my plea to the Commissioner, private health practice in this country has been misunderstood by both the public and sometimes, unfortunately, we feel even the very parent ministry. You take us clearly as businessmen. I totally disagree. I totally disagree. If I'm a leader and anything normal, I fly out. Anything normal, I fly out. Then all my people around me are going to do the same. It's the same analogy about you producing shirts and then you are using somebody's shirts. So we need to plow back the confidence of the public in health services in the country, because I think we've moved strides. We've moved strides.
These were speaking at the sidelines of the launch of the remodeled intensive care unit and the neonatal intensive care unit at Case Hospital in Kampala.
One of our main priorities is to improve emergency care, emergency critical care, and this involves the whole thing, how the patients come, the transport, the referral, the ambulance system, and you can see today, this is a clear example where they have a composite program for all these cases. They have the infrastructure, they have the human resource, they have 37 intensive care nurses. And I think right now they have the biggest ICU in the country, in the private sector.
Government is due to operationalize recently constructed neonatal intensive care units across the country. According to statistics, an estimated 15 million babies are born too early every year worldwide, of which about 1 million babies die due to premature birth-related complications. Dorcas Kimono, UBC News.
Civil society organizations want young people who are reproductively active to start family planning, which can enable them to produce children they can look after. Take a watch.
Ministry of Health 2021 records show that at least 25% of teenagers in Uganda get pregnant by their 19th birthday. This puts young people at health and financial risks. Civil society organizations championed by Partners in Population and Development, together with Africa Regional Office, propose that young people embrace family planning.
25% of children, of the women you see pregnant, 25% among them are children below the age of 18. How should we help that? Women, young girls are giving birth to young girls, and the more you give birth as a child, the less you will go to school, and the more you'll be able to look after the child you've given birth to, and the cycle continues.
Partners in Population and Development are celebrating 13 years of work in Uganda. They say there is need to change people's mindset about uptake of family planning.
But as long as you are sexually active and you can get pregnant, you are a candidate of pregnancy, then you can use contraceptives. It doesn't matter whether you are 12 years, 13 years, 15 years, as long as you are sexually active and you are a candidate to a pregnancy.
PPD Aero and RHU have worked so hard to leave behind hundreds of people across dozens of civil society organizations and government units who know smart advocacy, who will continue moving advocacy forward.
But there is need to avail information on the spread of sexually transmitted diseases.
You know, the highest way of getting or avoiding sexually transmitted diseases is by using condoms. All being, being faithful our partners. And using condoms is one of the ways of helping also couples to plan for their families. So
all of these districts, you will find that actually we've been able to do sensitizations of political leaders, technical leaders. So there is a high level of understanding and appreciation of the contribution of family planning to development.
Mary Namkose, Adia Nakuti, UBC News.
To northern Uganda, where Lango Cultural Foundation is currently looking for resources to plant trees in every district in Lango sub-region. The Minister for Culture and Tourism in the Lango Cultural Foundation, Patrick Mbale, says the institution has strategized to plant 5 acres of both indigenous and foreign trees in all the 10 districts of Lango.
Climate change is a major threat to Uganda's sustainable development and efforts to end poverty. Uganda is experiencing a prolonged drought in northern region, landslides and floods in eastern Uganda. Last year, thousands lost their homes, gardens submerged and roads were cut off by floods, especially in Dokolo, Kwania and Molata district. Activists believe this is a culmination of adverse human activities on environment.
There were times it would rain from 7 in the evening to 7 in the morning. But where are the rains now? 30 minutes, 10, 20 minutes, the rain is gone.
The window for action is rapidly closing. So we must stop talking and take action.
Recently, Otuke district was hit by food shortage and experienced hunger-related death after a prolonged drought.
Officially, I know of 4 people, but after sometimes people started giving me testimonies of their relatives who died.
The Minister for Culture and Tourism, Lango Cultural Foundation, Patrick Mbale, says the institution has planned to plant 5 acres of both indigenous and foreign trees in every district in Lango sub-region.
In which we will plant Wunyashi forest. The request is out and proposals are being developed so that we have them. Every other tree is cut, even those which give us the best medicines.
Creative Arts will also advocate for environmental protection in the local dialect.
Hip-hop allows us to reach a wider basis to educate, motivate, and hold our people accountable to their actions.
Access Uganda and Lao Indigenous Hip Hop has rolled out a 12-month project to address climate change.
We don't want to keep talking. We want to take action. And that action must be rooted at the local level. To the private sector actors, please cut the grid, not the green. To culture, religious leaders, and creative hearts, let's speak for the trees. Trees are not our commodities. We need to stand up and protect them.
In Uganda, about 2.6% of forest cover is lost annually. According to the 2016-2017 Uganda National Household Survey, more than 80% of Uganda's rural households use firewood for cooking. Eddie Olua, UBC News.
Thanks, Ola, for that report there. Vice-Chancellors and university faculty heads have appealed to the government of Saudi Arabia to increase scholarships given to Ugandan students so that they can train in programs that help their communities. Now, this follows increased urge of Muslims' desire to attain Islamic education from the government of Saudi Arabia. Here is our reporter, Sudat Kaye, with more on that.
Among the beneficiaries of Saudi Arabia scholarships is the Islamic University in Uganda, which has produced Muslim scholars who have supported King Fahad Plaza building in Kampala to cater for the welfare of tutors.
For the scholarships are being given since 1960s up to date, and we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward them abundantly.
Beneficiaries of Saudi Arabia say they need increased number of Muslim scholars to help Muslims.
Public administration has helped us to deal with the community, with people, even helping them, building, counseling, giving them water, education, even other assistance like food.
Saudi Arabia donated the fund to construct the library, international library, which is being constructed at the University of Uganda main campus, where many Ugandans, Muslims and Ugandans are going to benefit from that library. That's a very big impact for the development of education in Uganda.
As we talk about the impact of the Saudi Arabian scholarship that it offers to Uganda in particular and the entire Muslim world. Indeed, the scholarships right from the early 60s, 1960s, have helped a lot to grant the Muslims space to advance in their learning in Islamic studies from the lower level to the PhD level.
The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has sponsored a number of Ugandan students to complete higher education. Saudi Arabia has extended support to students training in the fields of infrastructure, development and education. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
We'll now take yet another short break and return with business.
Stay connected on the largest 4G network in Uganda using the Airtel 4G Pocket MiFi at only 75,000 Uganda shillings. It comes with 15 GBs free, valid for a month. You can connect up to 10 of your friends and family at a go. Visit the nearest Airtel shop to get one today or call 0800 333 330 for free delivery within Kampala. Dial *175 *9# to activate free 15 GBs. Airtel, the smartphone network.
It's back! After 2 years away, the Uganda International Trade Fair is back. The Uganda Manufacturers Association excitedly invites you to the 28th Uganda International Trade Fair from October 3rd to October 10th. Visit more than 1,000 manufacturers, traders, distributors, and business people from all sectors at the UMA Showgrounds in Lugogo. We are back to innovation, products, and world-class manufacturing excellence. Entrance fee is 10,000 shillings only. Select manufacturers will offer discounted prices of up to 50%. Enjoy live performances from your favorite artists as we celebrate 60 years of Uganda's independence. To book space, call 0703 552 444.
Nivana wafe twenywele, nivana wafe twenywele, nivana wafe tunyola. Eish, 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 eish. Nivana wafe tunyola. For more goals, kumala kenyonta.
Nirvana packaged drinking water is a product of Crown Beverages Limited, makers of Pepsi products. That's life. That's Nirvana.
Vimba! Ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
I remember the lockdown, when the streets were empty and our lives disrupted, when businesses closed and our livelihoods hung in the balance. Hospitals were full. We lost loved ones, jobs, and hope. Our children couldn't study anymore. We cannot let this happen again. We should not go back. Get fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and join the millions of Ugandans who are already vaccinated.
Meet Professor Petero. He knows something every hustler in UG is gonna love.
Oh, see. You say I was just trying to get the documents to register for Airtel Money.
You don't need the documents. You just say for register.
What's going on here?
He sells things from the shop, and behind my back, he gets the money and gives it to his girlfriends.
But just get Airtel Money Pay so that all money comes direct to your business wallet, and only you, the owner, have access to it.
Just dial *185 *10 hash, and now you are on. No waiting. Huh? This insanity is sweet. Give them also.
I only take Airtel Money Pay. It's easy and secure.
Yes, become a safer and more efficient cash-free business today. Easy.
No mixing your business money with your Kameza money. No, that's efficient.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from that break, and let's have a look now at the latest in business. Government has started training private sector change agents to champion streamlining and digitalizing service delivery through the UG Hub digitalization platform. The project training, funded by the European Union and conducted by NITA-U, PSFU and Mbale, and co-implemented by SG Plus project, happened at Uganda Institute of Communication Technology in Nakawa.
What are you dealing with? What data do you need?
Recently, government through National Information Technology Authority NITA-U launched the UG Hub digitalization platform to help private sector and private company owners access all government entity information through a joint portal system.
Target. Yes, you have a need. The data you want is from which entity? Who is the producer of the data that you need? Or who is the producer of the service that you need?
You designing your service, making it so perfect and users accessing and everything is not the end.
The project training was attended by stakeholders and the private sector fraternity.
Platform. So just getting a closer look, the platform is...
Job Kija, an expert on governance at Private Sector Foundation Uganda, explains the essence of Yugi Hub in easing access to information among a government and public sectors.
The country is now going in that direction, integrating government data. Now, the idea of this integration is that you have a one-stop center where all government data is stored and is accessible, of course, on request and with permission to access it.
The Skills Governance and Anti-Corruption Project will ease challenges facing the Private Sector Foundation Uganda.
What it does is that it reduces the laborious process that traditionally somebody had to go through to request for this information. But also number two is that it makes transparency become almost a norm in government, because all ministries, government agencies, etc. have put all their data there, and in that way government service delivery and accessibility to government becomes easy, but also government becomes more accountable and more transparent and accessible.
The Data Integration and Digitalization Project Manager at NITAU, Tony Bossa, says the project has better returns for government.
The mandate of one entity stops. That's where the mandate of another entity starts from. So the need for sharing of data is high. Different government entities need data to quickly process service requests from the public and the companies to offer public services.
I'm Ivan Juko for UBC News.
Let's have a look now at sports news. The second edition of the All Africa Para Badminton Championship kicked off today at the MTN Arena in Lugogo. The tournament that will run for a week has attracted 150 participants from 11 African countries, notably the DRC, Cote d'Ivoire, Burundi, Cameroon, Egypt, and host Uganda, among others.
Just days after the International Uganda Para Badminton event, 150 Africans from 11 countries are in the running for the African champion title in the All Africa Para Badminton Tournament. Participants will compete over a week's period in 6 categories: standing lower 3 and 4, standing upper 5, wheelchair 1 and 2, and SS6.
The difference between this one and the last one, which ended on Sunday, is that the other one had all players from all over the world. But this one is exclusively African players, and of course we have got 11 countries which are here physically, though 14 had entered. It means that all of those are here, and their aim is to see that they accumulate points which can help them in the future to qualify for World Championships. At the same time, to build on those points to see that when the rankings qualification starts for Paralympics, that is Paris, they can be able to build on those points to qualify for Para Games.
After action as #1 Africa,
Uganda, being the host, has the highest number of participants at a total of 48.
Uganda put up a strong performance, but basing on how our athletes performed in the previous tournament, we have decided to give them enough time to rest so that it enables them prepare well for this current tournament. So we are hoping that with what we prepared and how the little experience they have got from the previous tournament, they'll be able to perform favorably in this tournament.
This is the second time Uganda is hosting the tournament, having hosted the first in 2018. Grace Joyce Kemgisa, UBC News.
And after 2 days of action, the 2022 Masaka Select Pool Championship has climaxed. Our reporter John Ban-Santamo has the details.
KV Pool Arena in Nyendo, Masaka has been venue to the 4th edition of the Masaka Select Pool Championship that attracted 64 players. This two-day championship was unique because it was a reserve for players that, despite playing in various pool leagues across the country, aren't the top names in the sport.
We have organized this tournament for talent search. We are looking for best players to get better players, to promote them to be better than others.
Ultimately, after outstanding displays that climaxed with a finals 9-5 victory over Kile Osenyange, Suleiman Muliya, fondly known as Gumede, emerged champion.
Nyogwa pulu guno ekyagunjagaza nagutandika nyina emyaka 11 kitegeeza nguzanyidde emyaka egiri mu 6 awo 7 nengwagala nnyo kuba mama wange yagunjagaza.
It was also good to hear from several other players about their ambitions in this sport that seems to be growing in numbers on a daily.
Pool table, actually, it's my hobby. Nze ndowooza ku pool, natamira pool, kyo byonna. Omuzannyo gwa pool ngwagala nnyo kuba gunfunidde abawagizi bangi.
Tournament organizer Kimera Vincent also used the occasion to reward several partners that play a key role in tournaments at his venue.
It has been a very great experience, a very great chance of appreciating me.
Omuzannyo guno gwa pool bavubuka bannange mbagamba gunoonyemu ebintu bibiri. Bw'oba olina ky'okola gunoonyemu akatale. Ekyokubiri gunoonyemu okumanya.
These included Lawrence Serwada, Mulira John, Mubiru Tony and Moses Matovu.
Abo kino amakulu gaakyo kitegeeza kukola bulungi.
The top players at the championship were handsomely rewarded, with organizers promising regular competition. John Barnes, Centum, reporting.
And John Barnes, Centum's pool table story, brings us to the end of the second and final edition of News Tonight here on UBC TV. Thank you so much for having kept us company. My name is Rukidi Kijanangoma, wishing you a blessed night and see you tomorrow.